Welcome back to the Hot Desk. Now to a Waterford company set for expansion. GreenAcre Marketing is a Waterford marketing, advertising and PR agency which has announced a major expansion with the opening of a new office in Dublin. And I'm delighted to be joined by Aileen Barron in studio, who's the founder and managing director of GreenAcre. Lovely to have you here, Aileen.
Thanks, Julie.
So much. So tell us about, I suppose, first of all, GreenAcre Marketing. What is it that you do specifically?
It's a marketing and PR company specifically for the agri-business sector. So basically we're supporting agri-businesses, agri-associations with any marketing services that they require. And that's throughout the marketing function, be it digital marketing, offline marketing, PR services, event management. So we have a team of people that are skilled in all those different areas. So it's across the board in marketing really, but specifically to the agri sector, the agri and food sector.
And why did you focus on the agri sector in particular?
My background is agriculture throughout, having grown up on a dairy farm and then having studied agribusiness in college, moving into marketing. And when I first started working, I obviously worked for a company I was marketing in the agri sector. And it was while I was there and through the years, I had 15 years in the agri sector that I realised there were so many companies out there that were under-resourced in terms of marketing. I would have often been approached and asked, could I support them on projects, or they would ask advice on marketing in the agri sector. And it was kind of when I was on maternity leave with my second little girl that I thought, God, there's something in this. You know, there is a demand out there for somebody that has a knowledge of agriculture and a knowledge of marketing. So that's kind of where it started, really.
Do you think there's specific demands in the agri sector that maybe aren't there for general business, or specific challenges?
Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, absolutely. And you even see that in the food sector. And where I come from with that, and I only had somebody say it to me last week, that a customer loves that they can come to us and they can get straight into the nitty-gritty of the campaign that they're trying to deliver. So they don't need to explain to us things like what's the difference between a barley and a wheat, or what's the difference between a dairy and a beef animal. Those conversations, that level of research doesn't need to be done. We already know the facts and figures in the industry. We already know how our consumer, or how their consumer behaves, and how they're absorbing their information and how to market to them. So it's a whole area that a client doesn't need to talk to us about. We can get straight in and deliver a campaign for them.
Now, there's obviously a lot of business out there. You're expanding. You're opening an office in Dublin, and you've been in existence how long? About 5 years.
5 years now. Yeah, 5 years. Started early 2014. It's flown past really.
And do you have many people working for you?
Yeah, there's 4 of us now at the moment, and with Cormac coming on board, that'll be 5 with future plans, yeah.
So tell us about the expansion then. How has that come about?
I suppose really what's happened is, it's like you alluded to there, we have seen demand for our services that we have almost struggled to keep up pace with. And I suppose what I'd say is there's probably 2 types of customer out there. There's the ones that we've had the pleasure of working with for the last number of years who are recognising how the demand for marketing services has changed. And what I mean by that is that, you know, they now need to start putting their budgets more to online marketing, where before there would have been an element of, oh, let's just do what we did before. And our consumers definitely becoming far more educated, and our customers even that we service are realising that they need to appeal to their consumer in a whole other way. So it's about for us supporting them in a way that we can deliver value. So that's for existing customers. But we also see there's a huge amount of agribusinesses that have now had a realisation that they're not actually reaching out in a way that's effective to their customer. So they're looking for somebody that can support them and that can come in and say, look, I know this is the way you've always done it before, but we think this is the way you should be doing it now. And certainly we would notice with a lot of agribusinesses, they don't have a marketing team in place. So they're kind of thinking, well, how do we go about this? Where do we start? And that's where we come in.
And I mean, it's all about it's not just the agri sector, but it's all about digital for businesses these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's an area that on the surface probably looks quite easy. You just set up a Facebook account and your business page on Facebook, and you set up your Instagram account, or depending on your target market. But it isn't that simple. There is a lot to it. Yeah. And you do need the time and resources. And I think that's another issue too, that people think it doesn't take any time to do that. Mm-hmm. But to do it right.
Absolutely.
You're the expert.
Yeah.
Give us some tips.
And I suppose off the back of that as well, the time factor is huge of what goes into, social media management and all that. And, keeping your website up to date and really doing what Google wants you to do. Unfortunately, we're all falling foul to what Google is telling us to do. So it's definitely the time element. But what we also offer on the back of that is there is the whole analytics that need to go. And this is what we love about digital, is that when we run a campaign, we can really intrinsically look into what we've done and give back reports to say, okay, this is what's working, this is what isn't. So you can even tailor campaigns midway through so that you can you can tailor them so you are actually targeting. Whereas with offline marketing, that can be quite difficult. You don't really know what's being effective and what isn't being. So I think that's where digital comes into its own. And that takes time and that takes energy and it takes knowledge that a lot of agribusinesses probably don't have that resource.
And what is the agri sector like in your dealings with it? I mean, do you think it's in a good place? Do you think there's so much more that the sector can do to promote itself, particularly internationally?
Yeah, I really do. I think there's an awful lot more we can be doing. I think as an industry, we are known as one of the best in the world for food production. And I'm not entirely sure we sell that story very well on the world market. I'm actually not entirely sure we sell it very well to ourselves. And, I know there is a real food buzz going on at the moment and we all want good food and we all have an opinion about the food we eat. Do we relay that back to the people that are actually producing the food? And are we rewarding those people appropriately? I don't believe we are. I think we can be doing a better job at marketing the fabulous product that is produced on Irish farms.
To get people to maybe pay more for it, or?
Yeah, probably not going to be popular for saying that. But yes, we've become a consumer that we want the best of food, but we don't really want to pay the premium price for it. And unfortunately, that's the reality, whether it's a popular thing to say or not.
And what about, there's the agri-business and the food production side, which you have talked about, but there's also ag tech as well as a huge burgeoning industry in Ireland. Isn't that right? I mean, we saw there was that big announcement of the investment in Kilkenny with the Pace Centre. That's coming on stream there. And I know in Arc Labs in WIT too, there is a big emphasis on ag tech. So, I mean, that's another sector as well that I imagine you're quite excited about.
Yeah, it is. And the whole ag tech sector, again, is such a positive reflection on Irish farmers. There are so many farmers in the region that are incorporating the highest of technology that I think people not involved in the sector would be surprised to see what's happening. You've Julian Hughes in Kilkenny, who incorporates an awful lot of precision agriculture into his cereal and vegetable production. And what he does, it's his story to tell, but what he does is pretty phenomenal. But ag tech is certainly something that's hot at the moment. And I think it's great that we have the Arc Labs that are investing so much in that and are giving that a bit of profile. And that probably comes back in a way to our business, in that the reason GreenAcre Marketing has grown and the reason for the expansion is because it is the move into that whole area of tech, and that the resources and the services to support that need to be there and to help ag tech companies promote what they're doing and what they're bringing to market. So it's all connected again. And I suppose there's a very traditional view in Ireland of farming. But actually, our Irish farmers are not so traditional anymore. They're actually quite tech savvy. And that's probably something overlooked as well. We're not that traditional anymore, which is a good thing.
So tell me, finally, you've the expansion and the opening of the Dublin office. How is all that being kind of financed or funded, or
through the partnership we now have with Cormac Farley. Cormac has been behind many companies in the past that he's grown and has had quite a successful time with, and he is the founder of AgriLand, and
which of course is huge for those in the know. For people who don't know, it's Ireland's largest agricultural news publisher, isn't that right?
Exactly.
Now,
yeah.
They're an online publisher,
completely online. So they are the largest online news portal for agriculture. So I suppose that's been a hugely successful business since, I think that's in around maybe 5-6 years now as well. We would have done a lot of work over the years with Cormac, with placing campaigns, etc. So that was kind of how our relationship started. And Cormac has come on board now as an investor in GreenAcre Marketing, which is hugely exciting for us. And it's put a real spotlight on GreenAcre Marketing in a positive way, which has been great. So we're very grateful for having Cormac on board.
And do you think you need to have a Dublin office? Why not just, you can't just expand in Waterford?
There's a couple of things, I suppose, that the reason for that is we would have an awful lot of international clients that come over to Ireland to meet us, and a lot of the work we do is around marketing strategy, marketing planning. So we're supporting global agribusinesses who are trading products in Ireland or services in Ireland. So when they come over, I mean, the Dublin office is going to be 20 minutes from Dublin Airport. It's just so handy to go down the road and be there and be able to do a day's strategy, 2 days strategy, rather than trying to find a hotel somewhere around Dublin Airport or bringing them down to Waterford. Very proud of our roots in Waterford, and Waterford will remain head office. I want to be clear on that. But having a Dublin office will certainly make things more convenient for me and for the team in terms of when we go to Dublin, we have a base there. We have somewhere we can meet clients. So it just suits in that point of view. Also, in terms of staffing, that we have an alternative. The girls that currently work in the business with me do travel. They're Kilkenny, Wexford. And just having a Dublin office opens up an option for staff as well, that they don't have to travel to Waterford all the time if they're from Kildare or Carlow, or that you have an option.
Do you find it hard to people to get the type of skills that you require then?
Yeah, certainly. But I've been very lucky. I have a phenomenal team. I mean, all vested in agriculture. We're all ag background. We're all marketing background. It is truly unique in what we have, in the skills that we have. So I've been very lucky to have who I have, but there certainly will be a challenge out there to get that skill set.
Especially if you keep growing the way that you have been so far.
Hopefully, but controlled growth, I hope. Controlled.
Lovely. Well, it was lovely to chat to you, Aileen. Thanks so much for telling us all about GreenAcre Marketing, and the best of luck to you with the expansion.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that's all we have time for this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. You can listen back to this week's show or any item from previous weeks on the WLR website, and you can contact me at hotdesk@wlrfm.com. But for now, from me, have a great week and thanks for listening.